Greetings, greetings, greetings to the 12 tribes of Yashayah that are scattered to the four corners of the world. I am back with another video, and I know it's been a while since my last video. I pray that all is well with you, all and your family, my brothers and sisters in Christ. Um, I want to go ahead and make this video. If you have not saw the video that I made about the Melchizedek priesthood, I recommend that you watch that video prior to this one because it is a precursor. And I'm not going to repeat everything that was discussed in that video, but we basically uh deciphered how the Melchizedek priesthood was an office and not a person. And that Melchizedek priesthood was given to Abraham. Abraham walked in the office of, I'm sorry, we discussed that Shem was in that particular video, that Shem was he was Melchizedek. He was king and priest. He was the king of Salem, which became Jerusalem. And Abraham paid a tithe to Shem, and Abraham knew that Shem operated in the office of Melchizedek because Abraham spent about 40 years dwelling in the home of Shem and Noah, being trained or studying under them about the Melchizedek priesthood. And so this video is going to discuss Abraham and the lineage of the Melchizedek priesthood, and how not only did Abraham walk in it, but Isaac and Jacob. And this was the promise to the children of Yashayah. They are the children of righteousness. They are the children of the upright. And that came alongside with the birthright. So the birthright and the blessing of this was their portion. The Melchizedek priesthood came along with that. So there's going to be a lot of reading today, y'all, but just stay with me because we are going to there's a lot of information to cover, but most high willing, I pray that Yashayah blesses me to be able to bring this information forward because it is so important. And then it's also going to show you that we actually, we didn't steal anything because and I say that because our brother Esau and his descendants feel like they were as if they were conned out of the priesthood, or that they were conned out of the blessing, but the blessing went along with the birthright. So maybe I'll start there before I even go into this lesson. When you were the firstborn was entitled to the blessing, as which pertained a double portion of the father's wealth, along with the birthright. And the birthright meant that the son would be the next patriarch in the family. Whenever anything happened to the father, that mantle was of ruling the father's house was being passed to the firstborn son. So there were certain responsibilities that went along with the birthright, one of which was if anything happens to your younger brothers or to any of your brothers, like you were supposed to care for their wives, marry their wives, make sure that their name or bloodline continued on, meaning you would have children with your brother's wife, but those children would be still keeping your brother's bloodline going on. If there were any young women in the family that were not married, it was their responsibility to get husbands for those young women. And also, you know, just to cover over and keep those young women. If there were any older women that were widowed, they would take them, you know, back in. There were a lot of responsibilities with it, but I'm going to show you all that along with that came in this particular family between Esau and Jacob, the family of Abraham, the Melchizedek priesthood also came along with that. So I'll try to explain some of this without just doing so much reading. But in Genesis, Adam was operating in the office of Melchizedek. He was the first Melchizedek. Genesis 1:26, the Most High created Adam. The Most High directly, right after creating Adam, underneath those scriptures, you will see that Yashayah started to tell Adam his assignment in the earth. He was anointing him as in the office of king of the earth. Excuse me. The kingship, the priesthood was given to Adam. The birthright and the kingly and priestly offices. Now, so he told Adam, he gave him dominion, told him that everything was under his feet and that he could subdue it. He had permission to name everything, and Yashayah was basically just making him his same position in heaven. Adam was consecrated to operate as king, priest, prophet in the earth. Okay. And Adam lost that. He lost that. But I'm going to go to so Genesis 1:28, the Most High blessed Adam and gave him dominion and permission to subdue. And then 2:19, all the animals were brought to Adam. So Adam was given the king and priestly offices of the earth. And it says in Genesis 2:5 that there was no man to till the ground. That's very important. So then you have Cain born. Give me a moment, y'all. You have Cain born. And then in Genesis 4, it says, Genesis 4:2, it says, she again bore his brother Abel. Abel was the keeper of sheep, and Cain was the tiller of the ground. So remember, when you, the line of Abraham has always been shepherds. Going back to Adam, Adam was a shepherd. Abel was a shepherd. Cain was a tiller of the ground. Although Cain was the firstborn, Cain was under Abel. Cain was commissioned to till the ground, which was cursed. The ground was cursed when everything got cursed in Genesis 3, 14 through 17. The ground was cursed. And so, and that's why when Cain brought Yashayah the offering from the ground, Yashayah rejected it. How can you bring me an offering from the ground which has been accursed? You know, there needed to be a blood offering, a shedding of blood. Abel was sacrificing. He was over the livestock, and he was sacrificing offerings to Yashayah, and Yashayah accepted those blood offerings. But not only did Cain attempt to bring him offerings from the ground, but then he still didn't even bring him the best of that. He brought him, you know, he kept the best for himself. And so all right, let me stay focused. Let me stay focused, okay? Okay, so then Cain slays Abel, and he's kicked out of the garden. They're both Adam and Eve had already been kicked out of the garden, but after Cain slew Abel, Cain had to leave. All right, and he was cursed. He was marked then and told that he would be a vagabond or a fugitive. And so when Seth is born, now Seth is operating as shepherd. He is operating as king in the kingship. He is operating in the kingly and priestly offices. Okay, so this is what has been passed down through this line. All right, Enoch, which also came from the line of Seth. Enoch was king, priest, and prophet over all the earth. Then this went to Noah. Noah operated as king, priest, and prophet. And the Most High always noted that these men were considered perfect in their ways. They were upright, they were righteous, they were perfect. So Shem operated in these offices, the kingly and priestly offices. He was considered perfect and upright before the Most High, and he walked again in these ways in righteousness. Abraham, when Abraham was born, King Nimrod knew that a line was born, or that a son was born that would tear down his kingdom, or him ruling unrighteously, and that righteousness would rule. And so he told Abraham's father, bring me your son that I may slay him. And he gave him 3 days to do so. Abraham brought Shem, the son of one of his a worker in his home, one of his maidens, and he brought Nimrod, the son of a maiden that had been born within the same week. Nimrod slew that child, thinking that he slew Abraham. Abraham spent the first 10 years of his life dwelling in a cave, hiding out from Nimrod, while his father brought food and provisions for he, his mother, and the nurse for 10 years. Once Abraham was 10 years old, Abraham went and spent 39 years in Noah's house, being trained under Noah and Shem in the office of Melchizedek, learning how to be righteous, how to walk upright, knowing higher, the Bible says that he knew a higher from the age of 3 years old. And, the Bible constantly says, only Abraham have I known from all the families of the earth. And so Abraham walked in the office of righteousness, which was that Melchizedek priesthood. So after conquering the kings, the 5 kings that had taken Lot, after conquering and slaying the kings, Melchizedek comes to Abraham on his way back. Melchizedek blesses Abraham. Abraham pays Melchizedek a tithe, a tenth of all that he had collected. At that time, the office of the Melchizedek priesthood, or the mantle, was being passed to Abraham. You will always see that there was a consecration. There was a blessing was given, and a blessing was given, and tithes were paid when someone was consecrated in the office of the Melchizedek priesthood. So the mantle was being passed to Abraham. And once again, if you all go back and just look at that video, it really discusses Shem and Abraham's life. But one moment, y'all. Okay, sorry about that. But so yes, that first video, if you all go back and watch it, it's all about Abraham's journey, and it's revealing Shem as being Melchizedek, but you get a lot of the background in the story. So, okay. So I wanted to show you all where Isaac, actually, after Abraham passed, in the book of Yashayah, the Bible says that Isaac, Yashayah himself, blessed Isaac. And he asked Isaac to walk upright as his father Abraham had, and Isaac did so. So Yashayah himself gave the office of Melchizedek of the priesthood to Isaac. All right. So that went along. Let me bring this down a little bit. That went along with being the firstborn of the family. And so I want to read, let me pull this up quickly, you all. I want to read where it says Esau despised. He despised his birthright. Okay, so that's Genesis 25:34. All right. Okay. All right. So I'll start at verse 30. Genesis 25, verse 30. And Esau said unto Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point of death, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and sold his birthright unto Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So Esau despised the birthright. Esau did not want the birthright. A part of the birthright was being Isaac's firstborn son and Abraham's firstborn son and Seth and Shem and Eber's firstborn son was that Melchizedek priesthood of righteousness, being called to walk in righteousness. All right. He didn't want that. And we'll go even further to discuss it. I'm going to go to Yashayah 26. Okay, I marked 26 and 25. All right. So this is well, Abraham was having a conversation with Isaac, telling him about Ahiah in Genesis, I'm sorry, in the book of Yashayah 26, and to he's telling him all about Ahiah and all about what Ahiah has done for him, and that there is no other power besides him. He's the one that took me from my father's house, from my birthplace, and gave me all the delights upon the earth. He's the one that delivered me from the counsel of the wicked, and in him did I trust. He brought me from to this place, and he delivered me from Chaldea. And he said unto me, To thy seed will I give these lands, and that they will inherit it, if they keep my commandments and my statutes and my judgments, which I have commanded thee, and which I shall command them. And therefore, my son, hearken to my voice, and keep all the commandments of Ahiah, thy power, which I have commanded thee. Do not turn from the right way, either to the left, in order that it may be well with thee and with thy children after thee. And remember the wonderful works of Ahiah and his kindness which he has shown towards us, in having delivered us from the hands of our enemies. And Ahiah caused them to fall into our hands. And now therefore keep all that I have commanded thee, and turn not away from the commandments of thy power, and serve none other besides him, in order that it might be well with thee and with thy seed after thee, and teach thy children and thy seed the instructions of Ahiah and his commandments. Teach them the upright way in which they should go, in order that it might be well with thee forever. So this is what Abraham said to his son Isaac prior to his death. And Isaac answered his father and said unto him, That which my Lord has commanded, that will I do. And I will not depart from the commands of Ahiah, my power, and I will keep all that he has commanded me. And Abraham blessed his son Isaac, and also his children. And Abraham taught Jacob the instruction of Ahiah in his ways. And it was at the time that Abraham died, in the 15th year of his life, in the life of Jacob, okay, and Abraham was 175 years old when he died. But I wanted to show where it said that Ahiah went to Isaac. And this is the 39th verse. And it was after the death of Abraham that Ahiah blessed his son Isaac and his children. And Ahiah was with Isaac as he had been with his father Abraham. For Isaac kept all the commandments of Ahiah as Abraham his father had commanded him. He did not turn to the right way nor to the left from the right path in which his father had commanded him. So that took place in Genesis 26. All right. So then that account is also discussed. The account of the birthright being sold was also discussed in Genesis 27, verse 12. So let's go there. And he said unto his brother Jacob, behold, I shall die this day, and wherefore when do I want the birthright? And Jacob acted wisely with Esau in this matter. And Esau sold his birthright to Jacob, for it was brought by Ahiah. Ahiah was the one that caused that conversation to even come up. Because remember, the prophecy was in Rebekah's womb that she was carrying two nations and that the older would serve the younger. So if we go back, the part that I did not read, this was the day that Esau slew Nimrod. Esau saw Nimrod alone out hunting. Nimrod was his men had kind of strayed far away from him. So Esau attacked Nimrod. They struggled. He slew him and beheaded him. Nimrod's two men also attempted to fight with Esau, and he slew them as well. Other men heard their screams and ran. Esau saw them coming towards him. He took off, and so but what's also is not told. Well, what's also that needs to be highlighted is that when Esau slew Nimrod, he took some powerful clothes, the garments that were created from Ahiah, that I believe it was the same garments that were made from the animal skins back in the garden that gave Adam the kingship. Noah had those garments when he was operating as pretty much the king of the earth. He, over his three sons, his son Ham had stolen those garments, hid them, and passed them to Nimrod. So that's where Nimrod got a lot of his power from. Esau, when he slew Nimrod, he took those garments and hid them in his home as well. And so that's probably why he rules with the iron fist, just like Nimrod did. Through conquering and subduing and murder and torture and stuff like that, and not through righteousness, the way Ahiah commanded the earth to be ruled. Okay, so Genesis 27 and 12. Okay, I'm sorry. I had already read that part, but I'm going to read 13. Okay, and Esau's portion in the cave. So not only did he sell him that day, his birthright, because he despised it, he didn't want it. He also sold his portion in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham had brought from the children of Heth for a possession of a burial ground. Esau also sold to Jacob, and Jacob brought all this from his brother for the value given. And Jacob wrote the whole thing in a book. He testified the same with witnesses. He sealed it, and the book remained in the hands of Jacob. All right, so it's like there was a whole transaction done. And if you all, I believe this is also in the book of Joshua, when our father Jacob died, and Joseph and his sons had taken him to that cave that had already been purchased by Esau. Esau tried to block the cave and denied that he'd ever even sold it to Jacob. And then Joseph had to send Asher, one of Asher's sons, he had to send Asher to run all the way back and get the records, that were put away. But that's the day that Esau was slew as well, because a big fight broke out at Jacob's burial ground, and Esau was slew that day. And then Zepho was taken prisoner, and a lot of our further enslavements came from Zepho, continuing to want to come against us and get other nations to partner with him to come against us ever since the day of Jacob's burial. All right, so I'm going to go to 28 and 18. This is Joshua 28 and 18. At that time, Isaac sent his younger son Jacob to the house of Shem and Eber, and he learned the instructions of Yashayah. And Jacob remained in the house of Shem and Eber for 32 years. And Esau his brother did not want to go, for he was not willing to go. And he remained in his father's house in the land of Canaan. So Jasher 28 and 18 tells us that Jacob went and did the same thing our father Abraham did, and he sat under Shem and Eber for 32 years, learning how to walk in righteousness, learning the things of Yashayah, and learning how to live holy. He was again being trained in the office of the Melchizedek priesthood. Abraham sat under Noah and Shem. Shem was still alive at this time. And Isaac sat under Shem and Eber. And if you all don't know, Eber is where we get the name Hebrews. The Hebrews come from the line of Eber. So this is our lineage, just that's being passed down. We are the children of righteousness. We are the children of the Melchizedek priesthood. Esau did not want to go. Now we read in Genesis that he despised that. Righteousness. What is that? I want to rule because I'm Esau. I don't want to have to sit under anyone and learn to be holy and righteous for almost 40 years of my life. I want it because I'm Esau, because I'm the firstborn, and because I'm entitled to it without any works. I want to do as thou wilt. Esau wanted to stay back and hunt. And if you read more about him, he was a womanizer. He got married at the age of 40 like his father did, But prior to that, prior to being married, he was a womanizer. He was a worldly man. So he despised having to that call to righteousness and everything that was entitled with the birthright. But he wanted the blessing, which included a double portion of all his father's possessions. He wanted that. He cried for that. When that was given to Jacob, he burst out crying, bless me also, my father. Is that the only blessing? You don't have another blessing? That's all you had? He literally fell to his knees and wept for that double portion. He wept for the material things, the wealth. But throughout generations, the birthright and the blessing came hand in hand. So if Jacob had the birthright, he was entitled to the blessing. All right, so Genesis 29, I'm sorry, Jasher 29 and 4, 29 and 11. After Esau felt he had been subdued by his brother Jacob, and Jacob received the blessing, 29 verse 11 says that Jacob was very much afraid of his brother Esau, because this is when Esau said, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. So Jacob arose and fled to the house of Eber and Shem, and he concealed himself there on account of his brother. Jacob was 63 years old at the time that he went forth from the land of Canaan to Hebron. And Jacob concealed in Eber's house 14 years on account of his brother Esau. So he went another he stayed under Shem and Eber an additional 14 years in the house of the kings of the earth, of the prophets. He sat under them. He'd already sat under them 32 years, and he sat under them an additional 14 after Esau was hunting him, or had threatened to kill him when he received the double portion. So this is the office of the Melchizedek priesthood. So now, as we go on through Isaac, Abraham walked in it, Isaac walked in it, our father Jacob walked in it. So what happened after Jacob? Who did it pass to? We're going to go to Yashayah 36 and 15. All right. Yashayah 36 and 15. Okay. I'm going to start at 13. So we'll, go back a little further for more precepts. So it was after the death of Rachel that Jacob pitched his tent in the tent of the handmaiden Bilhah. And Reuben was jealous for his mother Leah on account of this, and he was filled with anger. And he rose up in his anger and went and entered into the tent of Bilhah, and thus thrice removed his father's bed. And he thence removed his father's bed. At that time, the portion of the birthright, together with the kingly and priestly offices, was removed from the sons of Reuben. So Reuben was the firstborn son. He was the next in line for the Melchizedek priesthood. He was the next in line to receive the birthright, to receive the double portion with the kingly and priestly offices. But when he slept with Bilhah, and we get more precepts of why he did this, he was mad. Now, my mother was the first wife, although Jacob felt conned, because he thought he was marrying Rachel, our mother was the first wife. And so you have showed your love for Rachel throughout this entire marriage. And our mother has slept alone. But even when Rachel dies at birth while giving birth to Benjamin, instead of you moving into our mother's tent, which is your first wife, you put your bed in the tent of the handmaiden. So Reuben was furious, and he went and laid with Bilhah and profaned his father's bed. And thus the birthright, and at that time, the portion of the birthright, together with the kingly and priestly offices, was removed from the sons of Reuben, for he had profaned his father's bed. And the birthright was given to Joseph. The kingly office was given to Judah, and the priesthood unto Levi, because Reuben had defiled his father's bed. So now the offices of the Melchizedek priesthood had been divided. The Bible says that the scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the lawgiver from his feet. So Judah was given the kingship, the priesthood was given to Levi, and the birthright was given to Joseph. And that, if we go back to Genesis 49, where Jacob blessed everyone, he blessed all his sons, we can see where he gave them that right before his death, when he blessed all the sons. And then Numbers 18 verses 1 through 7 discusses the Levitical priesthood being given to Aaron and his sons. We know that Aaron and Moses were brothers, and they were from the tribe of Levi, and they operated in the Levitical priesthood. All right. And another thing I just want to touch on is that, okay, Genesis names the wives of Esau. One was Judah, the Hittite, Bashemath, the Hittite, and then he married Mahakath, Ishmael's daughter. Okay. And if you read Yashayah 29 verses 27 and 28, and it's also mentioned in Genesis that, Esau's wives worship gods of wood and stone, and that Rebecca was grieved, and she was just like, oh, if Jacob marries one of these women on, what good am I? I can't even live no more. I can't take this. Okay, so he married these women, were worship idols. They worship gods of wood and stone. These are the same gods of wood and stone that were given to us here in our captivity. The wood was the wooden cross. The stone was the cobblestone, which represented Christianity and Islam, the two main religions that the children of Yashayah are operating in until this day, thinking that they are operating in the truth. So they're not going to give us the religion and the same God of the name of the same God that delivered us from Egypt if they want to continue ruling. They have to keep us in sin. They have to keep us transgressing against the Most High Yashayah. and straying from his law, statutes, and commandments. That's why they told us, oh, you can eat what you want. You can eat pig. You can eat shellfish. All that stuff is done away with. You can eat unclean things. You don't have to eat kosher anymore. That's done away with. You don't have to live righteously anymore. That's done away with. You can sin all you want and he still accepts you. That's why they have to do that, because once we walk upright in the righteous ways of our forefathers, then it's over. We got next. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. That's in 2nd Ezra. That's why Jacob came out holding Esau's heel. That's what it represents. That's what Yashayah told Ezra that meant. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I pray that you all have a blessed and wonderful week until the next video. Shabbat Shalom. No, it's not the Shabbat. I'm sorry. Shalom, and have a great day.